If your middle schooler is suddenly struggling, they're avoiding homework, they're shutting down mentally, emotionally, maybe they're rushing through assignments or saying, I'm just really bad at school, it's probably not laziness you're seeing, and it's likely not a motivation problem either. The middle years are a developmental turning point, and what looks like attitude or effort issues is often something much deeper, but also much more fixable. Hey, I'm Krista Copel with Engaged Communication Co. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through what's actually happening during this stage and what you as a parent can start doing differently right away. But first, I want you just to take a deep breath. If this season of parenting a middle schooler feels heavier than expected, just know you're not alone. Around the ages of 10 to 14, I consistently see the same patterns emerge, both in the classroom and at home. Capable kids start doubting themselves. Homework takes much longer to complete. Emotions are definitely running higher. And parents are feeling confused. Where's my sweet child that I thought I knew so well? And the problem is that most families are assuming that something's wrong. But what's actually happening is really developmental, it's predictable, and it's manageable if you take the time to understand it. So let's go ahead and break it down. In order to support our children through the middle years, we first need to understand what's actually happening during this developmental stage. The first thing is that we need to recognize that skill gaps are becoming much more visible. Well, what do I mean by that? In elementary school, children can compensate a lot easier for things that they maybe don't necessarily know. Why? Because teachers can provide more scaffolding. That's the support around an activity or an assignment. Lots of times those assignments that they're required to do are much shorter, and the reading demands are a lot lighter. But when they get into their middle years and they're getting into middle school, the textbooks that they need to read or the novels that they're reading are much denser, lots more vocabulary. The writing expectations have now suddenly increased. They've got to put out way more than they did before. Math is becoming a lot more abstract, and what they need to do independently, that independent work begins to expand. So what happens is that if there are small foundational gaps, let's say in reading comprehension, in writing fluency, or even math fluency, those gaps suddenly start to feel really big. What they thought they could do before, now they suddenly can't anymore. And many kids start to cope by avoiding their work altogether. And that's not laziness, that's just protection. The second thing that's happening during this time period is executive functioning overload. What's that? Executive functioning is your child's ability to plan, organize, start tasks, manage their time, and also follow multiple step instructions. During the middle years, the academic demands increase faster than their executive functioning develops. This is actually a task and a skill that needs practice, needs direct teaching, and it's not going to develop at the same rate as the academic expectations are. So this could look like forgotten assignments, messy backpacks or desks or rooms, procrastination, putting things off, and the proverbial, well, I didn't know we had homework. Again, this isn't necessarily a character issue. It's all about capacity. And the good news is that capacity can be supported. And the third thing that's happening during this time is that we're seeing a major identity shift. This is the part that a lot of parents often miss because, again, we're seeing our kids through one lens. But the middle years is when identity really begins to solidify, this understanding of who I am as a person. And the reality is that if a child starts to experience repeated struggle, they're not just thinking this assignment is hard, they're thinking, I'm really bad at this. And once identity forms around struggle, then avoidance increases. And that's why early intervention at this middle year stage really matters, not just for grades, but for the belief in who they are. But here's the thing. When parents see struggle, the instinct is usually to do one of the following three things. We either push harder, we lecture more, or we swoop in and rescue completely. And while all of these come from a place of care with the absolute best intentions, this can actually make things quite a bit worse for our middle schoolers. Because what it does is it accidentally increases tension. So for example, pressure, that extra pressure of you got to get it done and why isn't it finished yet and where are your things, without that clarity can increase anxiety. So if they don't actually know what they're supposed to be doing, telling them to do it harder or longer or faster is going to just increase stress and anxiety. When we swoop in and try to rescue them without skill building, it just increases dependence. And this period of time really is about them becoming more independent, doing things on their own. They need to develop the skills, and those skills just take time. And then lecturing without structure will just increase shutdown. I get it. As a parent, we have all the tips and tricks and advice and words of wisdom bottled up inside. But if we just start spewing them out without that structure and the support to help them through it, they're going to check out. They're just going to shut down. So what actually helps our children through this stage? So let's make this practical. Here are 3 things that you can do instead right away, starting this week. The first thing that you want to do is just observe before you react. So for 1 week, grab a journal and start writing down the things that you're noticing. Write down when it's happening. Like let's say if they're shutting down or you're seeing pushback or they're just feeling really frustrated. Maybe note, is it happening at a specific time during the day for specific assignments or jobs or duties? Make note of those things in a journal. Maybe keep it away from your child so that it's just something that you can reflect on. Because we want to make the shift from fixing to noticing. So ask yourself, maybe is there a skill gap? Do they just not know how to do something? Are they feeling overwhelmed? And if so, maybe what's making them feel overwhelmed? Is there a problem with organization? Or is it a confidence issue? When we take that time to reflect and actually see what's happening, not from the lens of I need to come in and fix it or correct it, but just truly objective, what's happening here, that clarity can really reduce reactivity, which will help with your connection with your child. The second thing you can do once you've kind of taken the time to make those observations is identify just one foundational weak spot. And I'm going to say it again, just pick one thing. Because I know over the course of the week, you could probably see lots of things in lots of areas that all need correction and fixing in our wisdom as parents and guidance. But I want to encourage you, don't try to overhaul and change everything. Again, look for those patterns. Are you seeing an issue with reading comprehension? Are they maybe not understanding some of the vocabulary that they need to know for the reading that they're doing? Is writing stamina an issue? Just their ability to sit for an extended period of time and get their ideas out. Maybe it's math fluency and their math facts that they just need to brush up on and review. Or maybe it's a task initiation, starting a task. Just pick one thing and then create some small targeted goals along with support to help them with that. So for example, if writing is an issue, set a timer for just 10 minutes and they write as much as they can in that 10 minutes, then give them a quick break and then let them come back and do it another 10 minutes and gradually increase that time or the amount of sets that you do till they get to the point where they can write for 30 minutes and it's not an issue anymore. Or maybe unloading the dishwasher is a proverbial point of nagging and frustration. So set a time at 4:30 every day before you do this and this, you need to unload the dishwasher, and they have it written somewhere where they can see it. And just that one goal, hey, let's see if we can unload the dishwasher at 4:30 every single day, they'll see success. And that targeted support will build momentum, it will build confidence, and it'll get a lot easier. And then you can pick other spots to work on. The third thing to do is to shift the language at home. So instead of, well, why aren't you trying? Or work harder, try this instead. Hey, this seems harder than it should feel. Can we figure out what's making it hard? So this kind of shift in terms of like, you do it is involving them in the process of, hey, is there something here you don't understand? Because they might actually have a better awareness than we even realize of what they're struggling with. Sometimes they might just give you, I don't know, or I don't want to do it. But if we can pinpoint, and again, those observations from earlier really help. Hey, I see you're struggling with that word there. Should we maybe look it up and see what it means? That will give them the tools to be able to help them through that struggle. And that shift in how we say things will drastically reduce that defensiveness when we can work with our child through these struggles. So I want to remind you that the middle years are not a crisis. This is not a season that we just need to survive. We just need to make it through, like we did with the toddler years or whatever years in between. This is actually a period of time where you and your child can thrive. It's a turning point. This stage can either reinforce, I'm not good at this, or it can become the moment that skills are rebuilt and confidence really grows. And the difference rarely has to do with intelligence or their ability to do something. It all comes down to support. And if you're realizing that maybe you need a clearer roadmap, not just some scattered tips to be able to support your child through the middle years, this is exactly why I created the Middle Years Reset. And inside this course and community, I walk parents step by step through identifying root causes for struggle, rebuilding those foundational skills that are essential through life, supporting executive functioning like we talked about earlier, reducing homework and schoolwork conflict, and really strengthening confidence. Because at the end of the day, it's not about pushing them harder. It's about supporting them smarter. And you can find all the details about the Middle Years Reset in the description below. If this video has helped you see your child differently and maybe provided you with some hope, I encourage you to click subscribe and share with a friend. Each week, I share practical and steady guidance to help you navigate these middle years with more clarity and less conflict. And it's important to remember that struggle at this age is common and in some cases absolutely necessary for growth. And with the right support, you can grow and your child can grow through these years with success. So I will see you inside the next video.